Wake up, we're live. Come to life.
This is my life. This is my life now.
This is my weapon on this show. This gets you back into action. Hey, everyone.
Hi to the internet. Please
We are
rescue
live.
me.
Don't rescue him. He's fine.
I'm being held against my will by Nicki
I'm not
Klein.
dangerous at all. I have a robot. This is not a weapon.
That's what she says.
We're back.
How's it going?
If you haven't seen this show before, this is Build with AM and Nicki, although we really should reverse it to Build with Nicki and AM because we know who's more prominent on this show.
With me.
I am the CEO of our nameless startup currently.
Oh,
Who are you?
I'm the CTO. I'm AM Grabelny. You coaxed me onto this channel and then threatened me with a robot. So
Oops.
it's probably a weird
Did I
first
do that? Are you
episode
sure I
if
did
you've
that?
never watched before intro. But what we're here to do.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Sorry.
Ignore the chat.
Sorry. We are monitoring chat. We are here to continue building out a startup that we started last episode a week ago. You can go watch that
Yeah,
episode.
really exciting.
Not right now. Don't go watch it yet.
Yeah, no. Stay with us.
Stay right here.
We're gonna do cool things, and we'll recap a little bit if you missed last week.
Yeah, we'll recap. We'll talk about what we're building. Today we're going to hit up React Native. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to hit up some AWS Amplify.
Psyched
I feel like
for that.
that's all you and I ever talk about.
No,
in
it's just
Amplify.
like we never stop talking about Amplify.
Yeah. And then I'm going to show us all how to do some elastic Beanstalk work, right? And
Yep.
that's not that's something you always see. Not always the first choice, especially today in the containers and serverless world, right? But I think it's still really good. Got a really good place that you can easily deploy web servers, web apps
Totally.
pretty quick. And
I
we'll see
agree.
why we chose elastic Beanstalk later.
Yeah, we will make sure that we elaborate on all the decisions that we made and why we did them.
Yeah.
Because there's obviously with AWS a ton of decisions that you can make.
A lot of options. That's how it goes around here, right?
So who should watch?
We're joined by two special guests.
Oh yeah,
today,
this
right?
is Flames.
I don't like that name.
You don't like any names I picked.
This is the dragon is Guy Fieri, the dragon. That's his title.
Guy Fieri the Dragon.
Yeah, Guy Fieri, the dragon.
And why does he have a little like throne there?
Also,
with the
thank
ribbons
you for
too?
pronouncing Fieri the correct way. A lot of people say Fieri, and it's just not right. It's very disrespectful to
welcome.
Guy.
You're very welcome.
Guy Fieri.
He's got a Rubik's Cube throne over there.
Yeah. This is a
I
little
think
guess.
Flames is going to need a throne as well.
Okay. Yeah,
We
I
need to
doubt
work
it.
on that
No,
for
I
next
don't think
week.
so.
Yeah, no, he does.
So who should watch? Anybody, basically, should watch.
Yeah,
Anybody
if
who
you're
wants to.
interested in starting a company, you're building on AWS for the first time, you are thinking about building a mobile app, it's pretty much, you could fall into any range of categories and watch our show.
Yeah, and both of us have background. I've built stuff usually at larger companies, not too many startups. Nicki founded her own company, so she has a lot more knowledge in this area than I do in terms of running the business and building from the ground up. But that's why I'm CTO. I get to just...
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
AM still does not have any senior leadership. We looked, and
Yeah.
remember the 3 requirements were to follow us on GitHub, star the repo, and follow us on Twitter. Those were the 3 requirements that you set, right?
I'll drop some of those links in
We
the
saw
chat.
some people that
You
did
keep
half
talking.
of those things or 2/3 of those things, but make sure you do all 3 so that we can announce you as senior leadership for our startup with no name.
That's right. The nameless startup. I'm calling it Petunia.
That's the code name.
That's
It's
what
not
I'm calling it.
It might actually become that because we don't have a name yet, but we have a lot of ideas written in Trello that you guys gave us from last week, so we'll sort through those at some point.
I just dropped the repo. Thank you for posting the Trello board. That's my Twitter. I'll put in Nicki's too.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Just
Also, our Twitter names are like under us right now if you can see them.
oh yeah. Or if you just
Senior
wanna
leadership is still up for the opportunity if you want to be a part of this company.
click. You could help shape what we build.
Absolutely.
All right.
So
what,
yeah,
what are we gonna do today?
today we are going to actually start building our React Native app. AM actually built the dev null as a service that we talked about last week throughout the week, and it's currently in that GitHub repo. I think you just posted it.
I did.
So he can talk a little bit about the backend service, but today we're actually going to build the front end and hit the back end from the front end. And then he's also going to start us a launch site. So, we want people to sign up for our glorious anti-social media app. And so we are going to put out a site out there so people could just start signing up for when we launch.
Yeah, that's actually what we're building, right? That's our startup, is an anti-social media network. Are you plagued by the addiction to social media? We've got the solution for you. Look, I'm learning to pitch.
Yeah, this is great.
We've got a solution for you.
I did this last week. This is great.
You get the same rush of posting, but it goes nowhere. It goes to a service that we created called DevNull as a service.
Keep your data secure. Don't share it with anyone.
Yeah.
But still maintain that dopamine rush that you get from opening Facebook or Instagram or getting likes on a post.
Any data that you send to us that hits DevNull as a service is immediately deleted. Or
immediately.
Maybe it's not. We haven't decided yet. If we look at our...
There's another idea where we could encrypt the data and delete the key and then just store it somewhere.
Yeah, I built 2 services for the rest from the stream last week. They're both using AES, but one is also using KMS to help with encryption. Just encrypts whatever you send, just throws away the key. Can never decrypt it again.
So take a look at that repo. His code is definitely in there. And we're going to be hitting that endpoint today.
I like the idea of encrypting it and then sending it to DevNull as a service.
So I like the idea of encrypting it, deleting the key, and then doing the same thing.
Yeah, sending it to DevNull, right?
Yeah.
This stream is going to DevNull as a service, right? We're piping it right into DevNull.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. We're not actually...
After you built it, there was just no reason not to pipe it there.
Yeah, so. This isn't actually on the internet right now.
No.
Oh, okay,
You're
good.
not live, so you can just relax.
I feel like you're convincing me that... oh, wait, no, I just got a
hello.
Wait a minute.
You might also be held hostage. Who'd you get hello from?
Well, they're telling us that we are on the internet. This is not getting
piped to DevNull. This guy's got a good name. DNOS. DevNull as a service.
Yeah, I like that. So, yeah, I spent last week building... it took me a couple hours tops. It was mostly learning the crypto library in Node.js, but I did some little prototypes of the encryption services and DevNull as a service. That's in that repo. You can go start now if you want. Go check out the code. Tell me what was not right about it.
You want to be his senior leadership so that you can tell him that he's wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it daily.
Yeah,
so.
she loves telling me what's wrong for sure. Which is most things at most times too. So today we're gonna actually start building the front end.
Yep.
And it's a mobile app.
It is a mobile app.
Why aren't we building an iOS app?
So we're building a React Native app, which allows us to release on our release date an iOS app and an Android app at the same time by only building one thing.
Okay, we'll get into that more when we.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into that, but we could build like a native iOS app or a native Android app, but we made a decision to go one layer back and build in a wrapper library that will allow us to release both at once, which is React Native. And I have experience with React.js. I hadn't used React Native before, so it's going to be an interesting time. I'm very interested in pair programming with you all, so like if you have suggestions while I'm maneuvering my way through React Native, feel free to hit me up. But yeah.
And I have not used React. I've done like the hello world basically, but I've done a lot of Angular work.
Good enough.
Right? Angular is my go-to, but I'm very excited to learn more about React. However, it would be a shame, I think, if we didn't take the wealth of knowledge that you have from starting your own business. Just take a moment and share some tips. We did this last week.
We did.
Too.
We shared 3 things last week.
So now we talked about last week the things that you need to think about and to be doing while you're in the ideation phase, when you're trying to think up what you want to do, right? And I think I'll summarize. My favorite piece of advice that you gave was you should tell everybody about your idea. Mm-hmm. Don't hide it, right? It seems like you should hide the idea because you're afraid people are going to steal your idea. Most people are not going to be able, number one, have the technical prowess to actually go execute the idea.
That's right.
Or 2, even want to go build a company from the ground up. So
it's a lot of work.
You can get a lot more input on your idea if you're willing to tell more people about it, right?
That's absolutely right. And then again, if you were to take an NDA to an investor, you might be laughed out of their office. So just keep that in mind.
Okay, cool. So, what are your tips today? We are now past the ideation phase. We're
We're
about
now
to
like
break
in
ground.
the building phase.
Yeah, we're about to.
We're breaking ground. Okay, so the first thing you should be thinking about is customer acquisition. So, who's your target audience? Are you targeting consumers, or are you targeting businesses, or a combination of both? Which, in my case, I was actually targeting both. So, if you're targeting consumers, you have a relatively easier time with this, right? You can tell all your friends, and you know that word of mouth is going to have a lot of power and strength in your marketing efforts because, in terms of like consumers downloading things or signing up for things, they listen to their friends, right? They trust their friends. So the more people that you tell, the more people that tell other people that actually have a good experience, the larger audience and the faster it grows. So that's if you have a consumer audience. And, there's other efforts that you can take beyond just like relying on word of mouth, like, giving out free credits or promotions or flyers. So you might have seen like in the early days of Lyft and Uber, like passing out flyers in random places where it's like free ride. And you're like, cool, I'll take a free ride. So stuff like that. There's a lot of other things you can do if you're hitting the consumer audience. Now, business is a little bit trickier. Business is harder. You're going to have to do a lot of in-person networking. Like, I was at every event I lived in LA at the time. I was at every event in the LA area that I could get into. I was at exclusive events. I was trying to meet as many people as possible. Because the more people that I met, the deeper I could get into companies. And, some companies are very large. And if you meet somebody, on the fringe of that company, it's very hard to get to somebody who's actually in a position of power and can make the decision to sign on your company or work with your company or collaborate. So a lot of in-person networking is what I would suggest. Also taking advantage of a LinkedIn.
Oh, LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
All right.
And not being like super direct and up forward with your pitch, but like approaching LinkedIn to the way that you would approach somebody at a party or a bar.
I would do neither of those things at either of those events.
Okay.
I wouldn't approach
How
anybody.
would you approach me?
I wouldn't.
That's a problem.
I actually probably wouldn't be at the party or bar to begin with, so it's a good thing I'm not the CEO.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're not. You're a CTO. But your CTO should still be talking to people and networking and helping you network because there's only two of us right now.
So this has been fun. I quit. Bye. Didn't know I had to talk to people.
That went far.
Yeah, this is rough.
Wow, one episode and like 10 minutes into a second one, you're already bailing on me.
Well, you did all those episodes last year, right? So
so now you could just bail.
Yeah, now I'm done.
Yeah.
So you have to actually talk to people, it sounds like.
You do.
Okay, and so how would you approach somebody on LinkedIn, right, using this
So I would not
party
approach...
method?
Okay, so how many people get hit up on LinkedIn like all day long? Like people are just constantly messaging you with asks. The approach that I take on LinkedIn is to not hit them immediately with the ask. It's to find something that I have in common with them and just start a conversation. Like the same way I would if I went to, a networking event and I was like, cool shoes. And we started a conversation off of your shoes. Okay, so I can't see them because it's online. But what I can do is I can look at their LinkedIn profile, do a little bit of stalking and figure out, oh, we both went to this school together or we both like tennis or whatever it is. And I can start a conversation. If I don't find anything in common, I can start a conversation on some recent event that I'm like, what's your opinion on X thing that happened? And, what they're expecting is after like 2 or 3 messages, they're expecting you to tell them what it is that you're after. But if you never tell them what you're after, they become curious. And they suddenly ask you for your pitch. Like, what do you do? What are you up to right now? And then you have to pitch them. They're basically like asking you for it. And then you're like, oh, well, I am CEO of... We really need a name.
Petunia.
We really need a name.
Petunia.
And what we do is
Petunia Corp.
we help businesses, stop their employees from using social media or whatever it is, whatever the pitch is. So, I basically didn't even give my pitch. They requested it from me. And usually this results in like some kind of coffee meeting because now they're intrigued and they're very curious. And so that's the best way I found to approach people on LinkedIn. But again, in-person networking is going to be your strongest strategy for getting companies to sign onto your platform. And then if you're attracting both, you're going to have to do some combination. So we would divide up the work and I would take companies and you would take consumers.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, a good business model that I think of from my previous experience, right? 2 different companies that are doing the same thing but targeting different audiences are Dropbox and Box, right? Mm-hmm. These are 2 storage companies.
Yeah, which one is targeting which audience? Do you guys know?
Oh, yeah. That's a
Well,
good
I know
question.
you know.
I do, yeah, because I worked at one of them.
Does anyone know? Oh, we still need startup name suggestions. Yes, we do.
I said
that was you. How to not hit on people. Firstly, don't go to a bar. I agree with that statement. So yeah, Dropbox
Dropbox
targets
target,
the consumer.
yeah, consumer, right? The more people that that use Dropbox, that is the target audience for them. Box, on the other hand, was mostly enterprise companies, right? So
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't use Box to store your photos, but you'd use it at work, right?
Yep.
So it's a way different audience for both of those things.
So who's your audience? And by the way, it could also be a specific segment of consumers. Like maybe you're just targeting artists, and maybe you don't have any friends that are artists. So like, where would you start? You would have to find, artists on LinkedIn using the same approach, or Instagram, or wherever you feel like they're frequenting, and trying to spread the word that way. So that's the first piece of suggest, focusing on customer acquisition. And you're going to get asked this question a lot. And when somebody asks you, how do you plan to scale? They do not mean your back end, because they expect that that's going to scale. They literally mean, how do you plan to scale your customer acquisition? How do you plan to spread the word to every single person that you know and get more people signed up? So you'll hear that question a lot, especially in this phase of, we just started building XYZ. The second piece of advice would be find a lawyer and do 3 things. Find someone that you trust that's like affordable and inexpensive. There's plenty of startup lawyers out there who will make a deal with you that like, I'll take equity in your company and won't charge you a bill for a year, stuff like that. Or there's even like websites where you can go and just do one-off things with lawyers, so you can contract out for singular things that you need. Those were really awesome during Startup World. So 3 things I would say: incorporate, trademark your name, which we don't have one yet, so we can't do that, and set up convertible note terms. So if you find that you're getting a lot of interest, like I want to invest in your company, people are going to be like, what are the convertible note terms if I were to invest in your company? And if you don't know what a convertible note is, basically what it is before you've raised an official round, you are basically giving a convertible note to early angel investors saying that I will convert your money into this amount of stock at the first round, and it's obviously will be a lower price than what the price will be at the round. So if at the round you have a big investor saying, I'm going to pay $1 per share, that's very high, but it's an example just so for ease of understanding, $1 per share for your company, and I'm going to give you X amount of money, then your investors that signed a convertible note might get their stock at like half of $1, for an example. So they basically, it's a way for them to get in early, and you're promising them some amount of stock for the money that they paid for you to fund your company. So you're going to need convertible note terms. You get to decide those. A lawyer will make suggestions, but you're going to need to have a document that you send out to people when they ask you for, like, if I were to invest, like, what would the terms of the convertible note be? And then the third thing I would say would be to start networking, another networking activity.
Wait, you know who my favorite lawyer is?
Who?
Lionel Hutz. Do you know Lionel Hutz?
No, who's that?
It's a Simpsons reference. Let's see if anybody.
God, I'm so bad at pop culture.
Yeah, I should have asked the stream if they knew Lionel Hutz.
Completely destroyed.
That's the lawyer you should shoot for, by the way, for your startup. I think Lionel Hutz. He'll do a great job.
Is he a real lawyer? Can you actually
real in the sense that he was on The Simpsons? So
not real.
No, he's a cartoon.
Not real.
He's a cartoon man.
Okay, yeah, don't call him. Absolutely not.
You should call Lionel Hutz. Voiced by Phil Hartman.
Don't listen to him. I started the company. Don't forget who's who. Okay, so the third thing is networking with investors in the area. This is really important. If people are interested, investor or not, you have friends, family, people are like wanting to know where you're going, you need to start a mailing list. You don't need to build it yourself. I know that the instinct as a technical person is like, oh, I'm going to go build an email server. There's no need. Just use MailChimp or SendGrid. This is not something that you want to spend a lot of time on. This is something that if, like, my friend Ashley says, I'm really interested in your business, I don't know if she'll ever become an investor, but I don't know what she'll be, and I want to make sure that she's receiving the information. So I'm going to add her to a mailing list, and then every month on like the first of the month or second of the month or first week, I'm going to send out an email update to everyone on my mailing list, letting them know where I am, what progress we've made, what clients or customers that we've signed on, how much money I have in the bank. This is really important. Most people don't want to share this amount because they feel like it's very private and they're embarrassed. But if you share the amount, you'll actually get more people wanting to help you when they realize that you're on your last dollar. Seriously, people don't know that they need to help you until you literally tell them. And so that's one way that you're like, we need help. And then the last thing I would put in the email is like an ask. Like, please introduce me to the director of HR at companies that you know, or please send me XYZ. So a final ask for anybody that's interested in your company in case they're, wanting to help you out.
So Stella UK, this is an interesting thing I think you should touch on. Stella UK points out, I always got told never to take investment from friends.
That's complicated.
Yeah.
That's
it's like borrowing money from family, right? Like, even if you're not making a startup, anytime you borrow money from family.
So you don't want to burn bridges until you really know that you're like going somewhere. Like, I would let friends invest like at a seed round, because that's like, I'm getting official investment at that time. Like, I might be going somewhere and I don't have to feel like guilty or shameful if I don't make it to round 2 at that point. But like in the early days before I raised an official round, I might not take investment from friends just because I don't know if I'll make it to a seed round or a Series A round. And it's a little bit more scary in those days. It's actually more fun. I'll be honest. Those were the most fun days. They're the most stressful, like by far, but they are the most fun, which is funny because you think that once you have money, it would be like all fun and games. No.
To alienate you even more, it reminds me of when Michael was trying to get investments for Jan's candle business from Jim and Andy.
What are we talking about?
It's The Office. It's The Office.
Jeez.
There we go. I have any pop culture
stop
references?
The pop culture references.
Go right over.
Yeah.
How many can I get in today?
I don't know. I live under a rock. It's a very nice rock. I'm very happy with it, but I don't know anything about pop culture.
I consume a lot of television.
Have you both watched *Halt and Catch Fire*? No.
I haven't, actually.
But if you recommend it, I will watch it after this episode.
It's got funnily enough, the actor in it played Artie, the world's strongest man from The Adventures of Pete and Pete, which is what our startup project is named after, Petunia. Small world.
Okay, so I'm ready to start building. Are you ready to start building?
Yeah, you're going to show us some React Native?
The first thing we need to do is just pull over some cards in Trello that we think we're going to work on today.
Yeah, and let's do a quick summary since we've been at it about 20 minutes now.
Yep.
What have we been talking about? Who are we? What are we doing?
I know people are really anxious to get to the code. We're getting there very soon. But if you just started watching and you just tuned in, all we've done so far is review 3 tips for what you should be doing at this startup phase. And what we're going to do today, we're going to build a React Native front end to AM's DevNull as a service backend that he's already built. It's in a GitHub repo. The GitHub is in the chat, as well as a Trello board that you can follow along with.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No. Anti-social app said that.
We're building an anti-social network app.
Yeah, so that when you post, it goes nowhere. But you can still post.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I think we're going to do this today. And where's like user auth? Didn't we add that here?
Under, I think user profiles, but auth, yeah. You probably need some of these are too large to be actual user stories.
We're gonna need to like break them apart.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we actually need a card that's just.
We were just taking broad feature requests last episode, so yeah, we can break up that user profile into more digestible parts.
I just made another card that's user auth. Because this will be like an actual profile view. We'll just call it profile view.
Okay.
You can view your profile and like edit it. Let's see. I think these 2 are probably sufficient because we have a launch site that you're gonna get to at some point.
Oh, the mail.
Yeah.
The mail collection.
What do you think?
Service. Yeah, I think that's good.
Cool.
Time
to create the app.
I think we should start walking through React Native.
Let's do that.
I've read.
Okay, I had the docs up here to get you started. I personally find the React and React Native docs really awesome. So there are multiple ways to get started. You can use what's called Expo. Expo is basically a really cool client that you can use to be testing your React Native application. You do not need to install Xcode or anything for Android, like Android Studio, you can just use Expo to test the app. And then when you're ready to like actually build some native stuff for it, like in Xcode or in Android Studio, you can eject the app, which is cool. So you can build like the majority of the application in React Native that fits all of the phone audiences. And then when you're like, okay, I actually have something very specific that I need to build natively, you can eject the app and start building it in Xcode or Android Studio, or adding specific code snippets that apply.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about React Native too is that you can actually add to a file specifically if you like, say you have a component, right? These are things that are broken into components, by the way. We'll see that as you get more into the code. But let's say you're building a user component, right? User view component. You can actually add .ios.jsx or whatever it is, or .android, and it will only compile using each of those files for whatever mobile device you're targeting.
Yep, and you can use Expo to simulate in the iOS simulator or the Android app, so you can actually see that work. Still using Expo, so you don't need to eject to do something like that. It's only if you like decide that you like really want to write something natively for whatever reason that you would need to eject the app, and then when you eject, two projects would be added to your project that can be open in Android Studio and Xcode.
Yeah, and React in general, right? Tell us about React. What is React? Why was it built? Who built it?
Okay, so it's a library. I wouldn't exactly call it a framework. I feel like there's like debates on whether it's called a framework or a library.
It's small, right? It's very small.
It's a
just
library.
Targeted UI.
Facebook built React originally, and it's a fast way to get a UI up and running. You end up writing almost everything in JavaScript, so you're not switching back and forth between an HTML file and a JS file. You're just in a JavaScript file or a JSX file, or you could even do it in TypeScript, so if you wanted to. So a TS file, and you are basically writing everything that component needs, and you're splitting things up and breaking them up into components that update based on state. So they store state, and they will automatically regenerate the component when that state updates. So if you have like a big page and only one little thing needs updating, you don't want to like refresh the whole page or reload the whole page. You just want to update that one component. That will update if it's a component and state has been updated.
Yeah, what's cool to me about React is that since everything's been pushed into JavaScript, right? All of this is actually, you're not manipulating the browser DOM at all. You're manipulating in-memory JavaScript objects.
Yep.
So what that means is you can now cut off the UI from just being browser specific. And that's what they've done with React Native.
Absolutely.
React Native is just using the same sort of syntax and the same types of libraries and components, things like that you would with React. But instead of targeting the browser as UI, it targets mobile devices as the UI. And what I really was impressed with React Native was there's a bunch of pre-built components already that point directly to shared components between the two device types, and both Android and iOS specific components too.
Yes.
So
it's if you just right there you scroll.
Yeah.
So on this page that I opened up for you, which is just the React Native docs, if you just scroll to the left, you can see specific guides and native modules for iOS, exactly what he was just talking about, and native modules for Android. And then these components are components that are going to work for both Android and iOS, and they're going to show up basically natively. It's pretty cool. We're going to show you that today. So there's two ways to create a React Native app to get started. So you can either install the Expo CLI and do Expo in it, or you can use, if you've written React before, you might be familiar with Create React App. There is a Create React Native app with Create React that you can install, and then you can, I think it's just npm install-g create react native -CLI. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I can look it up, but I'm sorry, I don't have that memorized. But yeah, you can do it another way. There's also, I've seen let's see, this in our Amplify docs, which we're going to get to what Amplify is. There's a way up here to create an app. Let's see, they gave an instruction at some point. There we go, yarn So that's a regular create. That's probably one you know that's not native.
And Yarn is just
I've seen
an
it before.
alternative package manager that, again, Facebook built. NPM being the more probably well-known package manager of the two. But Yarn is just another project to load and manage and get dependencies in.
Okay, so what is Amplify?
What is Amplify?
This is the second thing we're going to use today, and we're going to go into the code momentarily here.
Yeah.
Tell us what Amplify is so that when I start using it, people know what we're doing.
Amplify is it's really three different things. It's not a service offered by AWS, but it is a bunch of libraries and essentially CloudFormation templates built for you. And it is a way to, I'd say, provision cloud services without having to know how to provision cloud services, right?
Yep. You don't have to know anything about AWS to build with Amplify.
Right. I mentioned the three pieces, and there's actually four now after reInvent 2018.
Oh, that's right. There is a fourth piece.
I always forget the fourth now because it's so new. There's another console
By the
part.
way, it's entirely free to use Amplify. But if you are creating services with Amplify, then you're paying for that. But Amplify, he's going to explain it right now. To actually use Amplify, it doesn't cost you anything.
So AWS Amplify, three parts that you mainly operate with, and now a fourth that you can use with your help building your front-end projects. The first part is a CLI tool, right? So you're going to have to define out what back-end services you need. Auth is a very popular one. Storage, hosting.
And you don't have to know what our service names are called.
No, it sets up all of the dependencies between the back-end services that you need.
You just have to know that you need Auth.
And then you just drop in a configuration file, which is auto-generated for you actually by the CLI, into your project. And then you consume that configuration file with the second part. It's a JavaScript library as well. So it's got pre-built interactions. It's got kind of cool event hub built in for authentication. It's generally a lot of the events that happen in the Amplify library, but it's very useful for the auth lifecycle. So it'll fire events. You can register callbacks to it and things like that. And then the third part are pre-built UI components, which we're going to use one of those today.
Yep. Those pre-built UI components are awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to show you how it's done. So I think we're ready.
Yeah,
It's time to go to the terminal.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to use the expo method to create this app. So I'm right now, let me just show you where I am. I'm inside our GitHub repo that's called Petunia. So if you look inside here, there's stuff that AM built, the backend, a bunch of stuff. So we're just going to create another folder in here that's going to be the React Native app. So I'm going to do expo init. What should I call this? Petunia mobile?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Well, how about a dash between that?
You want a dash?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you a dash. You are the CTO after all. You can make that executive decision.
That's the one decision I had to make today. Again, I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay, whoa, where are you going? Okay, so choose a template. So the Expo CLI is going to make me choose a template. I think we should go with tabs. You guys know what a tabbed app looks like. I'm sure you've used one on iOS. There's just like the tabs at the bottom, and then you should see different screens when you click on the tab.
Yeah. Let's do tabs. Sure.
This is a new one.
Okay.
I have not seen this one before. I think they just updated their...
I don't like that setting advanced. That looks scary.
I agree. We don't have time for that. Please enter a few more configuration values. Let's see. The name of your app visible on the home screen.
Petunia. Because nobody's named the startup yet.
Okay.
We had somebody put in a faceless book.
That's a great one. I really like that one.
Faceless book.
Can you add that one to the trailer?
Yeah, I'll add it. It reminds me of like Game of Thrones, you know, like the faceless ones.
Yes.
Is that the name of that group?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that is legitimate.
I actually don't watch Game of Thrones, but my wife does.
Who are you?
Taylor?
Okay, so I don't know pop culture, but I watch Game of Thrones.
Well, I watch. It's on in the background, like, because my wife Taylor's just super into it.
Same.
And so I know some of the stuff, but sometimes I'll get it wrong, and then I feel like you, with pop culture references.
It's like me with everything.
But I got one. I got one with the faceless ones, right? Is that the assassin group?
So the faceless group was the, what is her name? Now, it's been so long since I watched Game of Thrones. It's been off of the air for like...
It's not Sansa. It's the younger one.
Yeah, it's the younger one. Wow, how do you even know that?
I told you it's like on the background, and I absorb. Like I'll be coding or something.
What is her name? She's my favorite. It's definitely not
Arya.
Sansa. Arya.
Yeah, thank you,
That's it.
Skull Crusher, for life.
Thank you very much. Been struggling with words all day today. I'm having like tip of the tongue phenomenon, like really bad.
Okay.
Anyways, okay, so we're gonna CD into this folder now,
Yes.
and we can actually take a look at what's inside. It's just a React app, basically boilerplate template that
It's
they
like
started
the
for
hello
me.
world
Yeah.
of React apps.
So let's open this up in Visual Studio Code.
Love that Visual Studio Code.
Let me make this bigger because I'm sure you guys are like, this is so small, I can't see it. I don't know why that thing keeps coming up. It's really annoying.
I'm watching chat too, by the way. So if you have questions as Nikki's working, let me know and I'll get them to her. I have questions too, so I'll try and interject every once in a while when I don't understand.
So we don't really need this terminal open anymore. Let's start it from here. So we're just going to do yarn start. And if you, basically what this is kicking off is Expo start. It's using Expo.
Okay, and Expo's, again, that thing that lets you run without having Android Studio or Xcode
That's
installed.
right. So it's going to open a window in my browser where it's basically going to create like a tunnel. And the really cool thing about Expo is that I can actually open the app on my mobile device. So if I downloaded Expo and I logged in and I scan this QR code that's here, I can now run it and test it on my device. I'm not going to do that on screen because you guys can't follow that. Like, that's impossible. But I can either run the iOS simulator or the Android simulator right here, or I can go back into that terminal and there's a bunch of like commands I can hit. So
Can
I can
you
just hit.
pull the terminal up a little bit more? It's a little hard
Yeah,
to
I
see.
can hit. I can pull it up.
Oh, look
like
at that. That's that
amazing.
QR code.
Here, let
That's
me
right.
do-
You can actually view your, if you download, there's an Expo app. If you download,
Oh, I didn't want to do that.
or if you download
Trying
the
to get
Expo
bigger.
app, you can scan that QR code and see your app running in a real device.
Okay, so I can click I from here, and it will open it up in the iOS simulator. That's the one I default to because I'm running on a Mac, and it's just easier to use.
Wait, you like Apple stuff?
Oh, was I not supposed to say that?
No way! What a surprise!
Shocking, right?
Yeah, I know.
I didn't like work for Apple or anything.
No, definitely
Like, never
not.
happened.
You
No.
never did. I'm sure.
No.
Yeah. They'd probably deny you now, wouldn't they?
Totally. Because, then I became a .NET developer. They're
Yeah,
like,
you work at C#
What
too
are you
much. You're just
doing?
like, no.
sorry, you joined the other crowd. Leave us alone.
You're like, that's gonna be a no for me, dog. That's what they'd say to you.
So what it's doing right now is it's building the JavaScript bundle. The cool thing is when I'm coding and if I just click save, it'll actually just rebuild the bundle. And I'll show you some neat tricks that I learned with Expo too. Like the shake gesture, you can get some other commands that you want to see. I'll show that like immediately when it loads so that you can understand how to test your app because that's always really important. Okay, so this is my app.
Oh, there's the tabs.
This is the tabbed application.
Whoa!
Oh, I did not want to do that, clearly.
Back to the
Okay.
Expo app.
So if I'm here, I can actually just shake the device. So I can mock the shake gesture by going to hardware shake gesture or
Before you do
control
that,
Command Z.
Skull Crusher had a question that I think we should address. Does the emulator that it opened is not actually part of Expo? That is the actual iOS
Right.
emulator
Yeah.
included with Xcode. So in order to compile
Look.
I think you can compile using some of Expo's services without having a Mac, but to run locally, to compile without using Expo, you do have to have a Mac to access Xcode to do the compilation.
Right, but
stuff.
again, if you had an iPhone, you could be testing it on your iPhone. You do not need to use either of the simulators if you own one of the devices.
Yeah. So we've got
just
some
makes it easier.
output
Yeah, we have some output here.
on your screen.
So back to what I was showing you. If you shake the device.
Wait, hold on. I don't think we're on your screen
Oh.
yet. There we go.
Okay, so let me do that again just for... okay, so if I do Control Command Z, I can also just go to hardware and click shake gesture. I get these other settings. So I can like reload the JS bundle if something bad happens. I can also debug Remote JS. This one's really cool. If I click this, it will actually open a browser where I can open the dev tools and I can basically breakpoint on my code, which is awesome. So if I were to set a breakpoint, I go to sources, go inside here. Where is it? Right there. There's my project. Petunia Mobile. And I can go inside. We're going to be working inside the screens folder because we have 3 screens. If you saw the 3 tabs, the home screen. And now I can breakpoint. I can set a breakpoint anywhere in my code here, and it will work once I run the app. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to turn that off because until we need it. Because sometimes it slows things down, as you can imagine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so back in here. So what do we need to do? So if we look at this app, we have 3 screens. We need to change the home screen to reflect what we want on our home screen, which is a feed or not even a feed. We're not going to have a feed.
Yeah, no feed button, because we delete everything.
A button where you can add a post.
Yeah, you just need to be able to post.
Right. So it's going to take, if I were to do this right now on screen, let's see, it would take me a while because it's a lot of CSS, but I thankfully made a home screen for us to use. And I'm just going to paste it in and then walk you through it, and then we will try to hit his back end from there.
We can also talk through like some of the constructs here to get more familiar.
So up here, you have the regular import statements that you do using React. You also have specific ones for React Native. So I'm importing the components that
those
I'm using.
are the native components for the mobile devices.
What this is doing is there is something on this basically boilerplate app that they made that will load the browser. So if you click help, it didn't automatically reload. So I can see that like down here. Let's see, handle help press. It's going to open the default web browser, which if you have an iPhone, you know that's Safari. So if I click help, it's just going to open a Safari window. You've probably seen other apps that do this, like Instagram, Facebook. A lot of them use that. This is how you do styles in React Native. It's similar to CSS, but also a little different at the same time.
It's a subset of CSS,
it's a subset.
Actually, right? They don't include everything that you expect with regular CSS.
That's right. You only have certain things that you can change. And the way that you use these styles is you just create these little CSS objects, basically. And then inside here, you have a component, and to give it a style, you just refer to the object that you want it to put the style on.
You can also do inline styling, but that's not really recommended.
Right.
And one other thing that I learned, kind of a gotcha, when you use that style sheet.create and you feed it an object, that object is immutable. You can't change properties off of it.
So I learned something else cool about this. So you can actually add multiple styles to an element, and the way that you do that is you add an array.
Yeah.
So you can add an array of objects, but the way it works is
the last one.
The last one will override any properties in the first one. So if they both had 2 sets of different properties, then they would just merge to become like one CSS object that gets applied. But if like the first one had background color black and the second one had background color white, the white will win because it's the second item in the array.
Right.
So that's a good thing to know about styling if you've never used React Native.
Yeah, it cascades just like regular CSS.
Same thing that you know. Okay, so I'm going to steal this other home screen that I already created.
Are you gonna set up Amplify too? We're gonna walk through that.
I am going to set up Amplify.
Sweet. I love Amplify.
Okay, so my home screen, just to briefly go over it, I really didn't do anything complicated. Mostly what I'm going to do today is going to be live with you guys. All I did was create a view, and my view has a modal in it because I have a button that says create a new post, and when you hit that button, it pops the modal and allows you to submit text. I didn't even get to more complicated things like uploading a picture. That can be added later. I figured we just needed to get the important stuff out of the way.
Yeah, we need to just delete that text.
So if I save this, I might need to install. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so I'm missing a module. I need to install this module.
Ah, okay. You gonna use yarn or npm? You already used yarn.
Do you have a preference?
No, I don't care.
What is it? React Native Elements. Okay, fine. I'm going to use npm.
Are you?
I don't care anymore.
Yeah, do --save too, don't forget. So if you've never worked in JavaScript or Node,
Finally.
npm is the package manager that pulls down dependencies, libraries other people wrote, and then it tracks it all in a package.json. We've got some opinions on the stream.
You guys have
here.
preferences between npm and yarn?
npm is greater than yarn, actually.
Yarn wasn't working for me, so I don't really have a preference between the two. It's kind of just whatever one is firstly available for me.
npm personally, but yarn was built.
Oh yeah, npm is better than yarn.
Yarn was built at a time when npm was lacking some features that Facebook wanted, right?
Right.
But it's essentially
the same thing.
The same thing now. Yeah. npm has done a ton of work. They're a great company. Has done really cool things for.
I don't know. You want to know my system? It's like if some doc says tell me to use yarn, I use yarn. If some doc says tell me use npm, I use npm. I just switch back and forth between the two.
You're a mercenary.
I'm a mercenary to other people's docs. I'm sorry, I don't have a preference. I know that's probably cooler if I thought one was better than the other, but.
No, I like this digital hex. Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works, right? Like, what's gonna work for me today? Oh, this one works.
You know what I like to say?
Oh, something is failing.
You know what my favorite language is?
What?
Whatever you're paying me to write in.
That's right. That's my favorite language.
It's my favorite language.
Which right now is React Native.
If you cut me a paycheck, I'll write in the language. I don't care.
Okay, I've experienced this before.
COBOL, you got it.
How did I get out of this before? Okay, I think I have to delete the modules. Yeah, I've had to do this like 3 times last time. Oh, remove haste cache. This has been happening to me frequently. It's because Expo and NPM have been updating like every 4 seconds lately, and so every time I seem to run React Native, one thing is not in sync with another. It's okay, we're gonna resolve this. So let's see. See if I can just go like this. Okay, so right now I'm just going to delete the node modules and then reinstall them, and then it looks like I also need to reset the Metro bundler cache, and the haste cache. And then I should be good. This sometimes works, not always. There's other weird things I've had to do to get this working, but again, it's just because the packages are updating so quickly, they can't seem to stay in sync for 5 minutes for whatever reason. Any questions coming in?
Yeah, we're talking. Somebody said COBOL's off the list because I said I'll write COBOL if you pay me, but I didn't mention the languages. They're not all equal in dollar amount that you pay me.
Oh, that's true.
Some of these languages you got to pay me
way more.
Got to pay me more money. You know?
That's right.
Yeah, I am worthless to you on this. I don't know what.
Yeah, I hit this like
happening.
a bunch of times in the last like 2 weeks.
So while you do this, just to give you alternatives, again, I mentioned I'm an Angular fan. I like it. I've used it a bunch. Not to say it's any better, but you can now use Angular with what's called native script, which is.
I need you to pray.
It's from a company called Progress. So it does essentially the same thing that I don't like to engage in religious activities. Okay, Nicki, don't force your prayer on me.
Can you cross your fingers or something?
This is like a public school, okay? Now, NativeScript, it does the exact same thing as React Native, and it'll compile for 2 different mobile devices, right? But Angular is typically... You can actually use Vue with NativeScript, too. Which Vue is another framework people generally like in terms of...
That should already be installed, technically.
Nick says every time you compile your code, your laptop sounds like it's about to launch itself into space.
Seriously?
I can hear it. For sure, it sounds like a lawnmower.
It's just like having a struggle. Maybe it's my computer. You know, you guys probably aren't experiencing this problem. I've had this problem like a bunch of times. Does not exist in the haste module map. Okay, let me try this last one again.
It's okay. This is real life, man. This is what happens.
This is real life. This has happened to me every time I have tried to run React Native. I don't know what is going on here. But you saw what we've done so far is we started a new app from scratch.
Yeah, but then you started...
Let me just do another reinstall.
Special Agent Euler. RMRF / Yeah, that would be the best option for you right now. You have to put sudo in front of that, by the way, if you want it to really work. And don't do it because it'll delete your entire hard drive. But it's always a funny joke.
You know what? I'm gonna quit the simulator and then reopen it. See if that helps me.
All right, Skull Crusher says that every time that there's a React Native live demo, same thing.
Okay,
happens.
yeah. What is the deal with that? It has to be because the packages are just updating too fast for them to keep up with each other. That's what I think is going on because it'll always tell me oh, this one is now out of date. And if anybody knows the reason. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this import statement and those. I liked those icons though. I had icons on my buttons. That's what it's complaining about. Let me try this one.
The Font Awesome thing, maybe that's doing it. Did you install Font Awesome? Or maybe it's missing a dependency. Yeah, but that's exactly what the error says.
Well, it's included in Expo though.
Unable to resolve module. Font Awesome.
Do you want to continue? Yeah. No.
Oh.
How about we just try this one? I didn't have to install this last time. I swear.
On the chat, they mentioned C# added Blazor, which is a WebAssembly project. Compiles...
The only thing about Expo is that every time you start it, it opens a new window in your browser, which can get really annoying if you're me.
Yeah. You can use...
Okay, building bundle.
Oh, sorry, Grumpy Pants. Yeah, absolutely. You did get that perfect DNAAS for sure.
Okay, I'm getting rid of the icons. They're going away. I'm
I owe
sorry.
you
We're
a
gonna
royalty
continue.
now.
I will add these icons back in the actual GitHub when I figure out what the heck is going on with these modules. But just for the purposes of continuing, let's try to get rid of these stupid icons so that we can move on with our lives and get to the cool stuff, which is Amplify. All right, let's do this. Another tab in my browser.
You should have seen my browser before we started live streaming.
I know, I had to close 8 million things. Lost connection.
I feel like most of the time, I don't really need the computer, the hardcore computation power of these computers for coding. I really just need it to have 80,000 tabs open because I found one special article that addresses exactly what I am stuck on. And if I close it, I will never find it again. It's gone forever.
I have the same thing.
Yeah.
I have the exact same thing.
It ceases to exist. I think it gets sent to dev null, actually. I think I did this to myself. Yeah.
I'm trying this again. Did this never happen to you when you ran a React Native app out of the box?
No, but I didn't do much outside the add Amplify. What if we do that? What if we kick back to
I don't know how that's gonna
just
help
delete
us,
this project,
start over,
start a new one, and add Amplify to it. Don't add your special stuff.
Okay, let's do it again.
Grumpy Pants, we're on here every Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific, except for next Thursday because I will be in Norway. So we'll skip a week, but we'll be back. What's the date on that? Let me pull up my calendar. Not the 7th of February, but the 14th is when we'll be back.
Okay.
Oh, bookmarks. Yeah. Bookmarks are a good way to address that issue, but my bookmarks, I'm not too keen on organizing them, so it's just a black hole of nothingness. Like you said, it's an abyss. Digital hacks, for sure.
Here we go.
Are we back?
I don't know. Where's your crossing of the fingers?
I'll cross fingers, I guess. Superstition's not. How many you got? You cross both? You gotta do both. Okay. We're casting a spell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for like casting spells and like that kind of stuff.
Oh, you're into that, but nothing religious.
There's like demons attached to it, maybe like Satan or something. Yeah. Then it's
what
cool.
about your mystical?
Then it's like a metal album. Then it's like you're listening to like Pantera or something.
I mean, we could do like something with the supernatural.
Oh, I do. I'm obsessed with the supernatural. You can't tell from my stickers. Got the Mothman.
Oh yeah.
Got Nessie. Yeah.
Ugh, this freaking thing. Come on. Give me something to work with. Lord. Well, this is real life development for you.
Uh-oh. It looks like it's starting. Hey!
Okay, so we're
Let's
back.
just do Amplify
We're
now.
going to do Amplify.
Yeah. We'll get fancy with
I'm
your
going to do
UI.
it in the terminal so you guys can see what's going on.
But you have some really nice UI, too. It's okay.
I did make a really nice UI for you.
Well,
it's unfortunate. I will have it ready for you next week. Okay, so if you want to use Amplify, remember he said there was 3 parts. One was the CLI, one was the libraries, and then the pre-built UI components. We are going to use all 3 today. I'm going to show you how easy it is to add Auth into your application. So all I'm going to do, I've already configured Amplify on my machine, but if you have not configured it, there is a step before you just call Amplify configure in those docs that I brought up, which are hosted on aws-amplify.github.io. You would call Amplify configure, and you would install the CLI before that, obviously. I don't need to do that. I've already done those 2 things. So I'm just going to go to any new project I want and it's called Amplify init. No, I'm not. Just kidding. That was a joke. What?
Psych.
Why?
Do Amplify in it -- help. Let's see. Oh, you're not in the right direction.
No, but I was. I just got out of it.
Ah. I was gonna say init -- help.
It's alive and well.
Oh yeah, no, I do Amplify init -- help. Let's see what those options are. Oh, there you go. Okay, never mind.
It started up.
Perfect.
Okay, so now I choose.
I fixed it.
Yeah, I don't know how you
didn't
fixed
do anything.
it. So I'm gonna choose my editor. We all know that I like VS Code. I'm gonna do this in JavaScript, React Native. Look at that.
It
making
detected
decisions for me. Yep. I'm gonna go with all the defaults. Yes, I want to use an AWS profile. Got a special Amplify profile for my
just
Amplify
for
usage.
Amplify.
Yep.
That's how much you love Amplify.
That's how much I love Amplify.
Wow.
I actually have 2 Amplify profiles, but one's for another project.
Wait, are you building another startup without me?
Maybe?
Wow. This is how I find out. In front of everyone. You couldn't have told me this in private. Wow.
Let's talk about it offline.
Wow. There's an open position
Well, look, I had to
as CTO.
I had to put my cards in multiple places and see which one was going to go first. Like, I have no guarantees that our startup's going to work, so I had to just, spread the love.
This is what happens when you found a startup. You get stabbed in the back. I've always got Guy Fieri
True
the Dragon.
story.
He'll never betray me, right?
He's
gonna betray me.
Actually,
He's gonna betray me.
Actually, my life. So, okay. So, all I have to do now is, first of all, I can type Amplify Status.
Yeah. And that's going to tell us what we've got.
It's going to tell me what I've got. I've got nothing.
Yeah.
I've provisioned 0 things. So if I want to add auth, all I have to do is say amplify add auth. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm invested in this anymore. I'm not CTO, so whatever.
You're still CTO. I just happen to be CEO of 2 projects right now.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. It's very dangerous. I did that once before and it didn't work out for me. Yes, I want to use the default configuration. I do not want to set that up on myself right now.
Yeah, Cognito is it's challenging to set up. It's very powerful, right? But this gives you a really clean setup with Cognito. It sets up user pool for you, which is an aspect of Cognito, and an identity pool as well. But the identity pool is set to map directly to that user pool. It creates 2 roles for you automatically. An unauthed role and an authed role, which means essentially you have 2 different permission sets. If I'm not logged in, the browser can make actions based in AWS services based off that unauthed role. As soon as I log in, it swaps over to that authed role. So you can do things differently. Give it different permissions.
Yeah, you can give it different permissions. Like people that are not authorized can do XYZ in my AWS account versus people that are authorized. Yeah. So I did Amplify Status again, and you can see that now it's set to create on Auth. And if I want to actually create these resources inside AWS, I just need to call Amplify Push. That's it. So I'm just going to do that. That's going to take a while because it's going to provision the resources in AWS. And while that's happening, we are going to switch back to the code, and we are going to add the libraries that we need to actually incorporate Auth. So we actually need another terminal window. Because we need to install...
in those terminals.
We need to install 2 NPM libraries. One is called AWS Amplify. And the other one is called AWS Amplify React Native.
Ah, sweet. So
very creative name.
Specific library just for React Native.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I have 2 processes going at once, so see how fast this goes. That's going to take a while. A while's going to go.
That other screen that Nicki had going...
this one?
Yeah.
See it again?
That's actually CloudFormation logging being sent back to your terminal.
And if you don't know what CloudFormation is, it's just infrastructure as code. So it's just like a big JSON object or a YAML object that's outlining the resources that I want created in AWS with any settings or customizations I'd like to do to them.
All right. We have not done a... Like, what are we doing here in a while? So
if you just joined.
Yeah, if you just joined.
What am I up to?
So Nicki right now is showing us how to build a React Native app from scratch because we're building a startup together that focuses on anti-social networking, which means I can post and it goes nowhere. It's sent to the great dev null in the cloud that we built.
Best app ever.
So she's just created a React Native app from scratch. She's now adding Amplify to it, which is a front-end library built by AWS that connects to cloud services in AWS. And soon we'll get that up and running with a higher order component in React for authentication. She's already added Auth to the project. That's where we're at.
I think I have one more package I have to install, actually. I think you need all 3 for React Native. There's React Native specific stuff for Amplify and then just general React stuff, which we're also going to use. Okay, so back in the docs, if you're following along, I'm like here in the docs. I just steal these import statements because it's easy and I'm lazy. So I'm just going to paste them up here. That's it. And then now to add auth. Crazy thing that's going to happen right now.
That configure, the amplify.configure line of code, that's pulling in the generated, basically, identifiers for all the cloud services that got created from the CLI.
I'm just going to basically wrap my export with this. So I'm basically going to take this entire export statement and just paste it in.
And this is a higher order component, right? What is a higher order component in React?
I need to paste these in the other file. Whoops, I screwed up.
I'll take
that.
I asked that question and I'll answer it too. Higher order component are to my very naive understanding of React, pre-built pieces that you can just load into React projects that will generate a bunch of UI based on what the component was built to do. You can send in props to it to kind of alter some of the interaction with it, but mostly it's just there to be pre-built. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool.
That was right. Sorry. I had to focus for a second.
That's okay. That's why there's two of us. I think.
You think?
I don't
Alright,
know.
so, oh, come on. No! Couldn't start the project.
React
See,
Native
okay,
not
this is the
installed.
same thing. This is the same error that we had last time. Alright, let's try this. Maybe it'll work. I don't... See, this doesn't make sense to me. You create a React Native app from scratch, and then you immediately run it without doing npm install, and it works. But then you change any code remotely, and suddenly you have to run npm install to restart the whole thing. Explain that to me.
I wish I could.
Like, what did I miss? Let's get rid of this simulator. Let's just try it again.
Okay.
You know, occasionally one of the things I do works. Don't ask me how. It just does.
Oop. Sorry, I'm trying to answer.
I got this working, you know, every day this week just by randomly trying stuff, so I will continue randomly trying stuff. Look, it's these vector icons again. This is the same error. Lord help me. Guys, pair programming, suggestions, anything, throw them my way. No way am I an expert in React Native. So, help me out here. Could really use some assistance at the minute. I'm going to try deleting the node modules again and running npm install.
When you change the code, you need to reset the environment and then verify the install, which is what npm install does.
Really?
I don't know.
What does
I
he
think
mean by
what's the-
reset the environment? Just like close everything down?
Maybe. I think what's the node modules
Okay,
are
let's close this
in
simulator.
the directory. It shouldn't matter.
Let's close these stupid tabs that consistently open. Okay. I deleted the modules and I ran npm install.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that other thing, the other two things it was suggested to do, which was like delete the metro bundler files and the haste.
Well, I mean, if you want to kind of tackle with this for a while, I can
switch over
switch over to me and we can start building out the
I mean, all we're
mailing
waiting
list.
to see is that this works and it has auth built in, which is really sick. Yeah, let's switch over. He'll show you Elastic Beanstalk. I'm going to get this working so you guys can actually see how fast and quickly I actually installed auth, minus the React Native stuff that's happening. That's separate from Amplify.
Yes. Yeah, let's switch over to my computer. I'm in charge now. Just kidding. I've never been in charge of anything in my
You're
life.
actually in charge right now.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta go. Bye.
Oh, God.
It's the third time I've left.
How many times have you tried to leave me on stream?
A lot, and it'll continue. All right, so using my one of my new favorite tools. It's not that new to me. I've been using it for a few years now. It's one of my fave tools, though, Cloudcraft, which they hooked us up with some accounts too. Shout out to Cloudcraft, man. That was super cool. I'm often not given things for free, so that was I was like, wow, okay, cool.
They did hook us up. I just want to say thank you. Pro is awesome.
That was super cool. And so I did a little, since I'm the CTO, right?
Since
I'm the CTO, I of course had to start with an architecture diagram, right?
Wow, this is a very detailed one. You did this?
Yeah, I did this.
Are you sure?
I did it.
Did you have help?
No, nobody helped me.
This is like more detailed than any of the ones I've ever seen you write.
All by my lonesome. I used to do this all the time. I was a solution architect.
I haven't seen you write more complicated ones yet, so this is the first.
That's very, you assume a lot.
Okay, so tell us what it's doing.
Yeah, so we're going to build a mail server, right? It's not a mail server in the sense that it's going to email. It's a web server that collects emails from people who are interested in learning more about our service once we finally launch. And we're going to use, do you mind pulling up? I don't have chat open because I'm now displaying.
Yes.
But make sure every once in a while.
Good old Cloudcraft.
So what we're building is a web server to collect emails of interested parties. We're going to use Elastic Beanstalk. That's what this icon is over here. I'll even show you how to set up a really simple, I hesitate to even call it a CI/CD pipeline, but it will let you update your code directly from GitHub. And what it does is it just shows a form, takes in your email, stores it in a DynamoDB table. And that's all we're going to look at today. But there are these other pieces. I wanted to build serverless pieces to this too. I want to be able to send an email on a timed schedule.
Oh, you built a little email service.
And you can use CloudWatch to do that. You can have a cron job go, triggers a Lambda. That Lambda can even pull from S3 right here. So let's say we wanted to store our email template in S3. It'll pull the email template. It'll then go to the user table, get everybody's email address, and then send it out using SES.
Our future marketing director is going to love you.
Yeah. SES is our email service at AWS, right?
Yep.
And I made this little CLI terminal looking thing to say, for now, you can update the email template over the AWS CLI.
But like in the future, you're going to have to like build a UI in front of that for marketing.
Yeah, because I mean, let's face it, we don't have any marketing people.
Digital
You're our
Hex,
marketing
Digital Hex
person.
thinks that you deserve to be CTO.
Wow.
That's a compliment.
Wow.
It's
I
a
don't
really,
even know what
really
to
big
do
compliment.
now. Wow.
I haven't been justified in my position yet, so you're the only one.
Oh yeah, you only started and ran your own company. That's probably not enough justification.
It's not. It couldn't be.
All right.
I can't even get React Native working at the minute.
So then I also set up a little service. I haven't built either of these yet, but I did build the web server, and we're gonna go through Elastic Beanstalk. We'll talk through how to deploy it to there. But this one I thought was interesting too. We could use DynamoDB streams to trigger another Lambda to then send us an SNS notification to some sort of distro list, right? Like let's say we've got a distro list so that maybe our future salespeople can reach out to interested parties, right? We could actually maybe even repurpose this later on. But yeah, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I put in this DynamoDB table to hold session state. I didn't implement that yet. Again, some of these things are future looking, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a working.
I like that
you're
already thinking in the future.
Yeah, you gotta be.
I picked a really good CTO.
You gotta be 5 steps ahead, and then even that's not enough, right?
No.
So let's take a look. I've already got it deployed. I already deployed this. You know me. I'm not like you. You take a lot of risks on the stream. I respect you for that.
He fears live coding, I guess.
I don't fear it. This is what happens. And so I wanted to have something working and then walk through.
At least I'm brave.
You are very brave. You're Gryffindor. I'm a Ravenclaw.
That's right.
That's how it is, man. That's how it goes.
CEO, CTO.
Yeah,
There's
that's
the
right.
difference right there.
So when you take a look, it is a very beautiful, gorgeous service here.
Did you just call your service gorgeous? Can we go back to that?
Look at this UI.
Let's go back to that.
It is, it's just breathtaking, I think. But not for a good reason. I just threw on the old bootstrap. But it works. So I can put in this AMSG at Amazon.com, submit it, and guess what? I've already signed up. I can actually show you that if I go over to the DynamoDB table that was created for this. Let's see. Go to my tables. Go ahead and filter by Petunia. And guess what?
Yeah. I think I got this working.
I also sent it like a garbage email. But
that's a real garbage email.
There's my email address, right?
Wait, I want to see it work again.
Well, it won't because I already signed up. It detects, oh hey, this is already here. But let's sign up with yours.
Okay. Nicki. Okay.
There you go. Submit.
Hey,
thanks for signing up.
I want to make a change to the UI.
No.
Can you make a change for me? Go back.
What? Okay.
Go back.
Go back. But you just signed up. We'll keep you in the loop. Thanks.
Okay, see how it says we'll never share your email with anyone else?
Yeah.
I think you should say in parentheses, or maybe we will.
Or maybe we will.
Yeah, because we don't know yet.
What's going on in chat, by the way? I'm sure they love that.
Ravenclaw's Skull Crusher for life is a Ravenclaw.
Raven, 50 points to Ravenclaw.
Digital Hex was hoping to build this one alongside, but since it's already made.
Well,
Whoa, you got called out on
called
stream. Thank you, Digital Hex.
We'll take a look though. We can look.
Janisq7 says Nicki takes more risk. It's been confirmed.
Oh, everybody knows that. That's well known.
Live code, but have a backup.
Hey, yeah, Digital Hex, me and you. Even though you're disappointed, I've got the backup, right? So, let's go back. We'll take a look at the code, at my code.
Still dealing with the vector icon error.
All right. So, it's a very simple, this started from, there's actually a cool tool called, I can do npm i-g, that's npm install globally. I think it's called Express Generator.
I do have a backup, by the way, so if I can't get this to work, I'll just show you the one that I created like 4 days ago.
This is Express Generator. It's a tool to generate boilerplate code, which is what this project started as. But yeah, once I started building off of it, we take a look at that view, right? That view
and
that we had.
You use EJS as your templating engine?
Yeah, I did use EJS, actually. I like it a little bit more. Pug is the default one, typically. It used to be Jade, but now it's called Pug. You said you like handlebars.
I like handlebars.
Use what's good for you, I think. So this is the line that you wanted updated, right? We'll never share your email.
I want you to put in parentheses, or maybe we will.
Or maybe we will. Really garnering trust with our users right away.
Right away.
Should I do an ellipses in there too? Like more threatening? ...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how am I going to make this change? Like I said, I've already deployed this. If we go take a look at, I've got a code pipeline here for it too, but if we, it's actually not for this. This is my Elastic Beanstalk project. In Elastic Beanstalk, you set up what's called environments, and this is one of the environments, Petunia Mail. That's what I've called it. And you can have actual multiple environments sitting under this one application. So if I click on here and load that up, we can see I've had some events happen. These are triggered and shown when things happen, like updates, right? How I like to interact with Elastic Beanstalk is this sweet CLI tool.
I knew it.
EB. And it's got a bunch of stuff. Let me pull this.
How do you deploy it?
Terminal up. That's exactly what I was going to show you. So there are a lot of commands here, tons of commands, right? It's kind of like the Roku CLI in a sense.
Yeah.
So let's see. EB deploy. That's it. This is all hooked up. I've got this Elastic Beanstalk config that got generated for me. We can go into potentially, depending on how much time we have, generating that, walking through. There's tons of docs that I can point you to too. But EB deploy is how we make individual changes.
I'm going back to my...
And this is, of course, outside of a CI/CD pipeline.
I'm going to my backup.
Going to your backup.
Yeah, we reached a new low. It just gives me a new error every single time about some missing module.
Okay.
So
mine is deploying now to Elastic Beanstalk. We go back to, so you can see, like the wheels are turning. The wheels of time keep spinning.
how
Wheel
long,
in the
how
sky.
How long does it take?
Keeps on turning.
How long does it take?
That's by poet Steve Perry.
No, how long does it take to deploy? Like previously when you did it?
2 minutes or so, 3 minutes.
Super fast.
Yeah, it's not as fast as like a Lambda, for example. We didn't mention that too. A lot of people probably would think, why wouldn't you just build this as a Lambda, right? Or as a serverless app? Why did we choose Elastic Beanstalk here?
Because you don't have to learn any new serverless technology right now if you didn't already know it and you're already familiar with like building applications using traditional web servers. And we really needed to get this app up and running and out there as fast as humanly possible. So he used the tools he already knew.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Well, let's pretend that I didn't know how to build a serverless app, right? And I had just been building web servers, Express, ASP.NET, whatever, right? And I just needed to get something out, right? This is not a core piece of technology to what we're building as a startup.
No, we're gonna get rid of this website at some point when we're actually ready to launch.
Yeah, we'll tear this down.
There's also, by the way, if you didn't really want to code this, there's a website called LaunchRock that you could use to do something similar. But if you are a developer and you're already technical, this is really fast, easy to get up.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much the motivation on why to use Elastic Beanstalk instead of build a container or do something serverless. It's because this is not core to our business. We just need to get this out the door.
That's right.
So if we take a look back at my screen, we deployed, we finished. I can go see if we actually got that. Uh-oh.
What
or
happened?
Maybe we will.
It's already up.
It's there, yeah. I'll take you through a little tour of...
When we actually have a real name, we're going to need like a domain. Okay. I have something to show.
Oh, you have something. Oh, you're going to steal my thunder.
I'm going to steal your thunder.
All right. I didn't even get to go through any of it. But let's switch back to you. You're the boss.
Come back to me.
You're the boss.
Okay. So this app, this is my backup because apparently my live code didn't work. I'm so sorry. I don't know what is happening with React Native modules. There's just one error after the other. But this app I got working. So you can actually see this app has Amplify installed. I didn't make any of these components or views, whatever you want to call them. All I had to do was add that with Authenticator. Do you remember I added that line? I'll show you really fast if you don't remember what it looked like. I just wrapped my app in with Authenticator. And after I imported the right libraries, I get all these views. So I get a forgot password, sign up, everything. I can sign up if I want to. It also has the ability to, once you sign up, confirm a code with your email. So like everything is just pre-built in. It's so great. I don't have to write any boilerplate code with Auth. I can log in for you because I've already created a login on this app. And then if I log in, I have create. This was the beautiful UI that I made for you all that nobody got to see until now. So yeah, when you submit a post on here, it actually just is it hooked up to an on-press event, which is a React thing. So let's see if I have my other. So this is my backup project. So all that button is doing is where is it? Oh, it's in screens. It's hitting send post, and right now it's just console logging. But what we would do if we had more time is we would just write a fetch statement, hitting his backend API, sending back text to dev null, which then it would get deleted.
That's right.
Such a bust that React Native is not being very nice to me. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
We had some questions.
I'm still getting some errors.
Digital Hex was talking through what you're saying. All you had to do is add that one line of code, import the auth package, and you're done.
That's right. So let's go back for a second. I used the CLI to provision the resources in AWS. Remember I did that? I did Amplify in it, and then it made me choose Visual Studio Code, JavaScript, React Native, my build statement, my libraries, and Amplify IAM role that I already created, which you would create if you did Amplify configure for the first time. So that was all. I pushed everything and I provisioned it on the back end. Then I went into my React app where I stole the import statements from the docs and just snatched them right away. And then I installed through npm aws-amplify, and I installed aws-amplify-react-native, which is the one that actually works. So you can see right here. And then I imported the with Authenticator, which again, if you just copy the import statements straight from the docs, like you import everything you need. And then I wrapped my app with Authenticator. And that's it. That's all I had to do to get all of these pre-built default views just straight up working outside of the box. And because my Cognito project was already provisioned in the backend through the CLI, everything just works right out of the box. It's so great.
Yeah. So
that was the question, right?
That was it. Yeah. And also, are there other can you do social logins with Twitter, Facebook? Yes, through Cognito you can.
And there's ways to customize these views. So if you really didn't like the orange, or you had a specific view that you wanted to attach and use with Amplify's connection to Cognito, you absolutely could. It's all detailed in these lovely docs. There's plenty of things in here. So there's a lot of, this is the sign up component that you can go and edit and you can give props to as well. And there's plenty of other things that you can do with Amplify that we don't have time to get to today, but storage for one, so like uploading images to S3, that will be in this app since that's something that we will do, but that will be something that I will code this week and deploy to the repo so that we can move on to other parts of the app. It's just using the same things that we did today with Auth, so Amplify adds storage. I'm going to also use the libraries given to me to use some of the pre-built components if I can, or I might customize them depending on, but I mean, it's all basically here. Upload a file. We'll just upload a file to an S3 bucket. And the Amplify CLI will actually help me create that bucket. So if I just say Amplify add storage, it'll ask me for a bucket name, and it will create an S3 bucket for me. So I don't have to do a whole lot. I just copy paste a bunch of code, and I have a pre-built component working for me straight out of the box to do something that I'm trying to do that you've probably done a million times over in other apps and you don't want to write again. It's really nice.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're running real close on time, and you totally stole all of my time to show what I built. I actually have a bunch of stuff that I built and working.
Well, you have 3 minutes left.
3 minutes.
You can show us now.
Yeah. Do I? Do I have three
You
whole
have
minutes?
3 whole minutes.
Wow.
Go.
What am I going to do with all that time?
Hurry up, fast.
All right. I guess we can show just a little bit. So I did want to highlight that you can actually set up a CI/CD pipeline with Code Pipeline and Elastic Beanstalk. I have a different project here, Test Pipeline. If you're interested in the code, I haven't put up the Petunia mail server code yet. I'll put it up after this episode, and we'll post it on Twitter. So follow us on Twitter. But let's take a look. I've got a Git repo here already. And I've got it set up with hooks.
Wait, so what is this project? This is just you made a pipeline for the other project?
Yeah, it's nothing. Like I have barely anything. Let's add a line. What do you want to add? I've got 2 minutes.
Welcome to Can't Wait to See More.
Yeah. There we go. I'll add that.
Why don't you say hi, Twitch audience?
No, I want to say hi to you for taking all of my time.
Whatever.
Oh, forgot.
I'm not even going to apologize.
No. Why would
Technically,
you?
I was just doing,
You're the CTO.
I got asked a question and I was addressing it.
All right, so I'm pushing to my repo, right? And this is a real repo in my GitHub account. That's Petunia. But if I go back, I've got this little test pipeline. Whew, 2 minutes. Test pipeline is
Talk
updating
faster.
now. I can't talk like you do. I've got this code pipeline already set up for it.
That was an insult.
Sure was. I think you earned that one today. So look, I've set up this source, right? The source is a GitHub repo with a specific branch. It's the master branch, but you can set it to other branches. So once it detects a change there, it kicks it off to AWS Code Build. Code Build is doing nothing for my project other than zipping it, right?
Did you set up this code pipeline with a CloudFormation template, or did you create all these projects separately?
I didn't use CloudFormation, but you could. And
just
then
clarifying how
there's no testing phase, which makes it not technically CD. And then it deploys into Elastic Beanstalk.
That's really scary.
Well, there's no need for testing when you're dealing with me.
Oh.
Anyway, maybe we can talk about this in the beginning of next. Next week, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, so we're coming back 2 weeks from now. He's leaving me to go to Oslo.
Going to Norway.
I will definitely get some more code in that repo that is working without those React Native problems that we saw.
Yep.
So that you can all clone the repo and follow along with us next week. Or not next week, 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. But thank you for joining us today. Come back in 2 weeks, same time, Thursday, 1 p.m. Pacific, and we'll continue building out the startup.
Thanks, guys.
See you next time.